As I slid into the driver's seat, the faint scent of unfamiliar perfume lingered in the air. Vanessa had just returned from one of her frequent outings with friends, her laughter still echoing in my mind as she recounted their escapades. Yet, the light-hearted stories didn't quite mask the lingering doubts that had started to cloud my thoughts. Reaching for the GPS under the seat, my hand brushed against something unexpected, a crumpled movie ticket. Pulling it out, the date stamped on it was from last night. The Midnight Dance, it read, a film we had talked about but never went to see together. Next to it, a receipt from Thla Pakor on Nera, a restaurant renowned for its exclusivity and one we had never visited as a couple. As I slid into the driver's seat, was Vanessa really with her friends last night? I murmured to myself, the weight of suspicion growing heavier. I couldn't shake the feeling off, so I decided to take action. Later that evening, under the guise of routine maintenance, I installed a small GPS tracker in the car, my hands trembling as I contemplated the potential outcomes. Days passed with an unsettling quietness until my phone buzzed with a notification from the GPS app. It showed the car parked at a quaint, secluded inn known more for its romantic getaways than casual visits. This wasn't just a random outing, it was deliberate. "Can we talk?" I texted Vanessa, my mind racing as I drove to the inn. When I arrived, the sight of her emerging from the lobby, laughing alongside someone I had never seen before, felt like a punch to the gut. The laughter ceased as she caught sight of me, her expression morphing into one of shock. "Mark, what? How did you find me here?" she stammered, her companion backing away. "We need to talk." "Now," I said firmly, leading her aside as my heart pounded in my chest. The confrontation was intense. Vanessa's tears and excuses did little to mend the shattered trust. "It just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far," she sobbed. But the damage was done. In a fit of rage and hurt, I declared, "This is over, Vanessa. I can't be with someone I don't trust." The divorce proceedings were swift. As I signed the last of the papers, the finality of our paths parting forever sank in. I had thought Vanessa was my forever, but her betrayal proved otherwise. Now, it was time for me to rebuild, away from the shadows of deceit. The morning sun barely penetrates the dense fog that blankets the city, reflecting my somber mood. It's been a week since the divorce papers were signed, and I'm sitting in the half-empty apartment that once buzzed with Vanessa's presence. My gaze lingers on the space where her picture used to hang, and a surge of anger courses through me. Determined to not let this betrayal define me, I decide to meet an old friend, Jake, who had been through a similar ordeal. Maybe he could offer some perspective, or at least, a plan to move forward. At the cafe, Jake greets me with a solemn nod, understanding my pain without a word. We order coffee, and I dive straight into the heart of my torment. She was cheating, Jake. All those nights she said she was with friends. It's like I didn't know her at all. Jake listens intently, his brow furrowed. "You took the first step, Mark. You left. What you need now is something to focus on. Something that gives you a sense of control again." His words spark a thought, an idea brewing in the back of my mind. I want her to understand the pain she's caused. Not to get her back, but to make sure she realizes the consequences of her actions. "Be careful, Mark," Jake warns, his voice low. "Revenge can consume you. But if you're set on this path, make sure it's calculated. You need a plan." I nod, the gears turning in my mind. Leaving the cafe, I head straight to Vanessa's favorite boutique. I know the owner, Sarah, from the numerous times Vanessa dragged me along for her shopping sprees. Sarah greets me with a polite smile, but her eyes are cautious. "Haven't seen you in a while, Mark. Shopping for yourself today?" "Actually, I'm here for some information," I say, leaning in slightly. "Vanessa used to shop here a lot, didn't she? Did she ever bring someone with her? Someone new?" Sarah hesitates, then sighs. "Look, I shouldn't be telling you this, but yes. She was here with someone else. A man. They seemed close." Armed with this new information, my next stop is the restaurant from the receipt, the scene of their dates. I speak with the manager, pretending to plan a surprise party that requires privacy like they had. Did they come here often? I ask casually. The manager, eager to please a potential customer, nods enthusiastically. Oh yes, they had their special table. Secluded. Romantic. With each confirmation, my resolve hardens. Vanessa's betrayal was not just a moment of weakness, it was a series of calculated choices. As I drive home, a plan forms in my mind. A plan not just of revenge, but of revelation. I'll expose her deceit not just to salve my wounds, but to show her that actions have consequences. And I'll do it at the grand reopening of La Pecora on Nera, where all our friends and her new lover will see just who Vanessa truly is. I send out invitations the next day, under the guise of a reconciliation attempt, a final grand gesture. A night to remember, I write, my hand steady as I seal each envelope. The trap is set. As I lie in bed that night, the shadows whisper promises of the drama to unfold. Tomorrow, Vanessa will face the reality of her actions, and I will reclaim my dignity. The evening of the grand reopening of La Pecora on Nera arrives cloaked in anticipation. The restaurant, with its soft lighting and opulent decor, sets the stage perfectly for what I plan to unveil. As guests begin to filter in, the murmur of conversation and clinking glasses creates a lively backdrop. I stand near the entrance, my eye scanning the crowd for Vanessa and her companion. She enters, arm in arm with the man I saw at the inn, their laughter echoing across the room. They pause at the threshold, Vanessa's eyes searching the crowd until they land on me. Her smile falters slightly, confusion etching her features. Mark, what's this? Why are we here? She asks as they approach, her voice tinged with suspicion. To clear the air, I reply, my tone light but my eyes hard. After all, we should part ways amicably, shouldn't we? I gesture for them to join me at a table set apart from the others, conspicuously isolated. As we sit, I can see the tension in Vanessa's posture, her companion's arm around her shoulders slightly tightening. I wave over the waiter to bring the first course, and as we wait, I start the conversation. I've been doing a lot of thinking, I begin, watching her closely. About us, what we had, and how things changed. Vanessa shifts uncomfortably. Mark, if this is about us, It's about truth, Vanessa, I cut in sharply. About realizing things aren't always what they seem. I pause, letting the words hang in the air. The waiter arrives with our dishes, and I wait for him to leave before continuing. Like these last few months. You've been busy, haven't you? Meeting new people, visiting new places without me. Her companion interjects, look, if you're trying to make her feel guilty. It's not guilt I'm after, I say, my gaze fixed on Vanessa. It's acknowledgement. I pull out my phone, sliding it across the table towards her. I know about the nights out, the trips, the lies. And I have proof. Vanessa's eyes widen as she looks at the photos displayed on the screen, images of her and this man at various locations, times, and dates clearly marked. Her face drains of color, and for a moment, she seems to shrink in her seat. This was never about reconciliation, was it? She whispers, her voice breaking. It's about closure, I reply firmly. For me. I needed you to know that I know. That I'm not the fool you took me for. The rest of the evening blurs into a spectacle. As planned, friends and acquaintances come over to our table, their curiosity piqued. Each interaction, each shocked expression, each whispered comment adds layers to my retribution. Vanessa tries to compose herself, to explain, to deny, but the evidence is too damning, the spectacle too public. Finally, as the night winds down, Vanessa and her companion leave, defeated and humiliated. The weight of public disgrace is evident in their hurried exit. I remain at the table, a glass of wine in hand, the chatter around me fading into a dull roar. This was not a victory, nor was it a defeat. It was necessary, my path to moving forward. As I look around at the slowly emptying restaurant, I realize that this chapter of my life is closing, and a new one, hopefully filled with honesty and integrity, is about to begin. Weeks after the public exposure at Tlapacoronera, the city whispers with the tale of Vanessa's downfall and my calculated revenge. Yet, the taste of victory is bitter, and the urge for a deeper retribution simmers within me. As the final act of this drama, I devise a plan that will irrevocably seal our fates and punish the deceit more profoundly. One morning, I anonymously send Vanessa a beautifully wrapped gift, a symbol of forgiveness, or so it seems. Inside, a simple note: meet me at our old cabin by the lake. Let's end this properly. The bait set, I know her curiosity will drive her to come. That night, the sky is a shroud of dark clouds as I watch Vanessa's car pull up to the cabin. She steps out, tentative, scanning the shadows where I wait, concealed. Her lover, foolish enough to accompany her, stays a few steps behind. "Mark? Are you here?" she calls out into the chilling wind. Stepping from the darkness, I face her, my expression unreadable. "Thank you for coming, Vanessa. I wanted to give us a proper closure," I say, my voice steady despite the storm brewing within. She nods, eyeing the cabin warily. "What do you want, Mark?" To show you something, I lead them inside, where the room is set like a stage. "Please, sit." As they take their seats, I close the door and lock it, trapping us in. My next move is swift, tying their hands behind them with cuffs I had hidden away. Vanessa's eyes widen in fear, her lover struggles, but the knots are secure. "What are you doing, Mark?" Vanessa cries, terror replacing her initial confusion. "This is my final act of retribution," I state coldly. "You see, Vanessa, betrayal begets betrayal." I pull out my phone and show her a live feed, her lover's house, being emptied by movers under my direction. Her lover gasps, turning to her, betrayal in his eyes as well. "You told him to do this." "No. I swear I didn't," she pleads, looking between us. "But I did," I interrupt. "Just like you orchestrated your affairs, I orchestrated this. You lose everything, just as I. Just like leaving them bound and panicking, I exit the cabin, locking it behind me. As I walk away, I make a call to ensure that the final piece of my plan is set in motion, a call to the police, tipping them off about an illegal activity at the cabin. As I drive away, the first raindrops begin to fall, cleansing the air of the poison of the past. Vanessa and her lover, caught in their own web of lies and deceit, will face the consequences of their actions together, as I once faced the pain they caused me. This chapter closes with the certainty that the past will no longer haunt me. My revenge, dark and complete, ensures that our paths will never cross again. Vanessa, caught in her duplicity, will forever remember the cost of her betrayal, and I will move forward, free from the shadows that once bound me.